Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
The Doctor of Discernment is now online.
You know, much like my show, in that it's a local reaction to things that are happening on a federal level.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Wow, do I have a boatload of stuff for you, from the crazy to the absurd. Let's start getting into it because, I mean, it is bizarro world out there. And I say, if it's obvious to me, it should be obvious to everybody. Oh, wow. Who could have seen this coming?
This is the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage.
Hold on to your butts.
Broadcasting from my basement bunker beneath Kettle Radio. Welcome to the Fourth Hour. It is great to have you along. The president posted something on True Social that I was looking at, and U.S. Code, okay, what is this? And then I looked at this is Robert Kennedy. Robert Kennedy, Attorney General. So he posted this. He didn't say anything about it. So, talking about what was happening at that time with Alabama and the president sending in at that time, John F. Kennedy Jr. sending the National Guard into Alabama as a result of what was going on. And so, Robert F. Kennedy, you can see the signature here talking about U.S. Code. Provisions authorize the president when faced with such unlawful obstructions against the authority of the United States, in this case, as existed in Alabama, to call into federal service such of the militia of any state and use such armed forces as he considers necessary. So, you know, you've got California, Oregon, Illinois that don't want the National Guard in their states. And so here's Donald Trump showing this letter from a former Democrat Attorney General, Robert F. Kennedy, who is saying, yeah, absolutely. President's got authority to be doing these things. Absolutely, the president's got authority. And I thought you might want to take a look at that. You can find that right now on the president's True Social account. I want to thank all of you who are here. If you're not a subscriber, I want to ask you to please subscribe. Up to 453 subscribers. It's a slow haul, and I want to increase that number. So if you're not a subscriber, I want to ask you to please subscribe on YouTube. It would be very appreciated. Okay, also, the Politico's got a story why Trump hasn't yet invoked the Insurrection Act. Apparently, there are some people within the administration who are trying to talk him out of it or don't think that he'll need it. So what are they saying? They are confident that the Trump administration is going to prevail in court after a federal judge blocked the White House efforts to send troops into Oregon. And again, I just showed you the opinion of Attorney General Robert Kennedy at the time was, oh, absolutely. President's got authority to send the National Guard into Alabama at that time. What's the difference here? It's just crazy. So a lot of this is just reaction from folks, the versus actual news. So hold on here. Trump declined to invoke the Insurrection Act earlier this year in the context of the emergency at the southern border. Pete Hegseth, Kristi Noem had recommended against it. But in recent weeks, the White House has been increasingly building the case to use the move in blue cities, with Trump repeatedly calling rioters in Portland insurrectionists, which he has. So we'll see. Trying to see if there's anything new here. I grabbed several stories this morning. I haven't really had time to look through them in more detail. So Miles Taylor saying this is what Trump wanted to do in his first term. Now he's putting these bets. Now he's a critic of Trump's. I just don't believe these people that Trump wanted to do this in his first term. And thank God we stopped him, the first time, but this time it's going to be worse. I just do not buy this hysteria. I think it is just a lot of people excited, agitated. I just don't buy it. So Abigail Jackson at the White House said that local leaders like Governor Pritzker of Illinois have refused to step in and quell what's going on so the president exercises lawful authority. A lot of these comments are from days ago. So what's new here? What's new here other than a left-wing reaction, Politico, left-wing reaction to what's being, maybe being considered by the president? I wanted to show you something. So I go to take a look at Google News, and I use it mostly just because to validate how useless it is. Sorry. My phone goes off. I don't know if you can hear my phone talking in the background. You see the stories, why Trump hasn't invoked the Insurrection Act yet. What is the Insurrection Act? Okay, well, at least that's a little, okay, what is it? That's reasonable. The Brennan Center for Justice. Okay, Google News, they show 4 stories, and among them, the Brennan Center for Justice, there is no insurrection. I want to show you that story because this is the kind of crap I think you wind up seeing, and it gets pushed out there. And I think that's why a lot of people are just sideways when it comes to news. You go to Google News and you think you're going to be getting news, and what you're getting is garbage like this from the Brennan Center for Justice. Troops are for national defense, not displays of presidential power. You don't have to go far into this. Today, our nation grapples with issues of power and abuse as old as the Constitution. As President Trump turns his eyes from Los Angeles to Portland to Chicago, you begin to hear the word insurrection. And then Trump's comment about Portland burning to the ground. It's insurrectionists all over the place. And then this. That's rich coming from someone who inspired the January 6th insurrection to stop the certification of the election. What? Do I have to read any further than that? I mean, and that's the kind of crap that Google News is pushing. It's the same thing over at Yahoo News. I go to Yahoo News and I look, okay, US, and you look down Yahoo News, and it's all left wing, and all the way down. It's just absolutely incredible, the kind of stuff that you see out there. And I have found it harder and harder to find places where you can go and get an honest, an objective. I don't mean a conservative point of view. I know what I'm going to, I know what my own perception is, and what I'm looking for is an objective telling of news, and finding that is incredibly, incredibly difficult. You wind up with news stories like the Politico story that I just shared with you, where it's like, this much of new information, and then it's this much reaction from people. Well, this and this and this. When I want reaction, I know what to do. I open the phone lines. I go to Facebook. I know how to. If I want to know what people think, I come to you. I'm not going to people within the government or within the legacy media or the so-called think tanks and all of this. It's just, it's absolutely nonsense. The reporting, I think, in this country right now, the reporting is so terrible overall as regardless of what we're talking about, whether you're talking about the government shutdown and they just move very short news pieces. And I mentioned it on the air this morning as we were talking about Pam Bondi in front of, and I was surprised I didn't get more calls on that this morning. Only a few calls. I don't know if you're frustrated or, what's going on. I thought that would generate a lot more phone calls and a lot more reaction because I watched Pam Bondi yesterday and I'm like, wow, man, I'm just absolutely floored. And, and received very few phone calls on that. I don't know if we're just becoming disengaged. And I actually had some comments along these lines yesterday on the air. Folks who are just like, well, nothing's going to happen. And like, and I used as an example, it was Brian, the garbage man, who called. And it's, oh, we're never going to see this and we'll never see this. And I think you got to I understand being skeptical and looking at things skeptically. Okay. I don't ever want to lose that myself. You want to be able to look at things skeptically, but not to the point where, oh, the government's so broken. And I'm like, James Comey is in court today. Who ever thought that we would see James Comey in court? I never did. I never thought we would see James Comey being charged, being brought and facing charges. Did you ever think we would see that? I never did. I mean, there are things. Also, the response of the FBI to the stories that we had talked about recently about the surveillance that was going on of Senator Ron Johnson, Senator Lindsey Graham, a number of other Republican senators, like 19 Republican senators and one Republican member of the House who were being surveilled, and who would have ever thought we would see that story and that information coming out? And what did the FBI do? Immediately firing people. They fired people who were responsible for that. They shut down a division that had been created along those lines, taking immediate action. Kash Patel is out there. I mean, and we just heard about it. I mean, how many times have we seen that where you're hearing this news and this has been revealed, and what do we usually see? The federal government dragging their feet, not going to do anything. Oh, we'll have to have an investigation, and investigations go on and on and on, and nothing ever happens. I understand why people get down in the mouth because of that kind of thing. It frustrates me too. You want to see, especially if you've got people who are, and I'm not saying James Comey is guilty, but James Comey will have his day in court. I want to see when it's believed that people are doing things that are illegal, that they are called on it and that the law is enforced. We have just gotten, as a country, we have gotten away from that so much that now when you flex your muscles and you actually start trying to enforce the law, you get people who are pushing back and all kinds of nonsense. And for me, it's just, honestly, it just becomes too much. Okay, there was one other story. Christine is in the news. And I want to ask you again, if you're not a subscriber on YouTube, please subscribe to the Fourth Hour. I would very greatly appreciate it. I've got 453 subscribers right now, and I'd like to break 500, and we'll go from there. When we break 500, I'll go for 600. Okay, Christine, I had this story in the stack of stuff this morning. Didn't have time to get to it. She was going after country music star Zach Bryan because he's got a song that's anti-ICE. So, and he said, and I appreciate that. Now, this is his opinion. It's not one I share, but he was saying the song is about how much he loves this country And so Noam was apparently, she listened to a short demo of Brian's song, Bad News, which was released earlier this month. And so as she listened to that, said she was disappointed and disheartened. She said, I hope he understands how completely disrespectful that song is, not just to law enforcement, but to this country, she said. To every single individual that has stood up and fought for our freedoms, he just compromised it all by putting out a product such as that attacks individuals who are just trying to make our streets safe. And if you're unclear as to my position on ICE and what they're doing and federal troops then to protect federal facilities, I'm very much on board with it. But he's saying, I heard the cops came, cocky blank, ain't they? And ICE is going to come bust down your door. Brian claims kids are scared, houses aren't being built, but everyone has a telephone. Excuse me. So the song goes on. So Noam was talking about it in Portland. And she said, Zach, I didn't listen. Zach, I didn't listen to your music. It makes me very happy that I never gave you a single penny to enrich your lifestyle. If you truly believe what that song stands for. And then she talked about others, Jason Aldean, John Rich, John Party, Kid Rock. She said, those guys know what it means to stand up for freedom. Glad I didn't waste my money on Zach. So, former Governor Kristi Noem, now the Director of Homeland Security, and those were her comments, and I wanted to share those with you this morning. All right, you have made it to the end of the video, so you are part of my gallery of champions. A big thank you to you. Special salute to the Bunker Brigade. Those are the folks that are here each and every day. Small number of folks that I see commenting as we're going, and I just want you to know how much I appreciate all of you. Whether you comment or not, being a part, where you drop me an email or call the radio show, or just listen. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Until tomorrow, my friend, I'm underground and gone.